large-scale industrialization for mitigating unemployment. Meanwhile, notwithstanding, this administration is trying hard to complete a number of key projects it considers vital for the cross-entire structural transformation of the national economy. Among those, Justice Complex, School of Children, the European Paper Mill, NAPCO Phase 2, Aluminium Complex, and Capital Complex. One before, which our economic leaders, legislators, and policymakers must avoid, is excessive preoccupation with a revenue allocation system that endlessly shifts resources from a shrinking pool among different players in the government. While occasional adjustment may become necessary in any dynamic structure of fiscal federalism, it would surely be more productive in the context of Nigeria's contemporary reality to focus greater policy attention on the generation of on a diversified and sustainable basis. As honorable men and women, you are no doubt quite conscious that your election is primarily a call to patriotic service and not self-indulgence. We hope, indeed we trust, that your generation of leaders will be able to build policy bridges for the continuity of administrative regimes to evolve a unique paradigm of development which blends our cultural attributes and social values with the imperatives of modern technology and open international economic competitiveness to infuse a new sense of hope, self-worth, and intellectual self-confidence that will enable us to write our own nation's agenda in confronting the rest of the world and to strengthen our human and management capacities for containing the high uncertainties of our time. In all these, I'm sure you will be mindful of the fact that our strength really lies deep down in our extended families and communities. All temptations of over-centralization and over-governance is therefore really disturbing. As you interact with one another in a collective search for the nation's soul and social identity, you will gradually be setting the moral tone for our great country through the 1990s. Public property and accountability are prerequisites to good governance. You are also aware, I'm sure, that lobbying in Nigeria has acquired a bad name. Although in other systems, lobbying is often seen as being perfectly innocuous and legitimate. Our people have also become not only more impatient, but also more cynical of governments and their functionaries. Many, in fact, presume that corruption is not only all-pervading, but that it shouldn't be taken for granted. You would no doubt wish to prove them wrong, that you can be honest, not be an unwitting fool, and their basic presumption of criminal corruption or penalty is displayed. We realize, of course, that you are handicapped vis-a-vis the executive and the judiciary in terms of your acumen, material and infrastructural support base as the legislature. You are presently the least institutionalized of the three arms of government. We also know that a similar problem exists in some state legislatures. We shall do our best to address these infrastructural inadequacies and institutional fragility. But I want to plead with you and honestly urge you to rise to the challenge. You can turn your disadvantage into a challenge, and the challenge into an opportunity to exhibit political sagacity. In the meantime, you may wish to prepare yourselves more adequately for the great tasks that lie ahead. The lawmaking tasks require not only that you should be conversant with your statutory functions and powers, but also that you fully appreciate what federalism essentially demands. To assist you in this respect, members of the National Assembly will handle their inauguration through a series of policy briefings under the coordination of our Senate. On the economy, I would urge you to lay your hands on all the key economic and financial documents in their original form instead of becoming victims of commentators who too many have not read the original document. You now have the right to these published various documents, and they will be made available to you at any time you ask for them. Policy briefing for political actors of the Republic is intended as rather this approach to handing over between current managers of state affairs and heirs apparent to political power. Such systematic briefing is to make you knowledgeable about the state of our nation in the trust that the knowledge you acquire will have an impact on your deliberation. You of course know that a period of transition between election and assumption of office of the elected is normal in a presidential system of government. Such an arrangement allows for order, patching, and predictability. It is also doubly important in our own situation in order to prevent the anomalies of a one-second total finish, total handing over, which in the past is presented as with a public rule by people who are ill-prepared. By your election, you have to build a cardinal requirement of democracy, which is that those who seek leadership positions must forgive themselves for endorsement at the grassroots. By presenting ourselves to the electorate, we have also impliedly rejected the moves of those who seek to short-circuit the democratic process. Once again, I want to congratulate you on your membership of this August Assembly. As I look around, I remain shaken in my faith in this great country. My colleague in the Armed Forces Women Council and I have done our best in our own modest and humble way. We have given up our best to our nation. Our race is almost done and completed, and we must pass on the baton to all of you here today. I trust that you will not let us down or let us take you down. Do not let the country down. Do not let Africa down. Again, remember that the international community will accept and respect us not only for what we do, but also what we say and how we say it. So please do not, under the guise of an United Union, do or say anything which can have negative repercussions on yours and historic past, and you must rise to that occasion. I also enjoy to shed the heavy burden of our past. Do not be incapacitated by the vicissitudes of our political history or transient economic hardships. Like me, you should find inspiration in these noble and heroic pronouncements by Alfred Lord Tennyson in the poem Ulysses. Death closes all, but something there ends. Somewhat of noble note may yet be done. But unbecoming men explode the world. Come, my friends, it's not too late to seek a newer world and hope. And so, as we all stand at the doorstep of a national world, I say only to all of you, thank you and God bless Nigeria.
Mr. President, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, your permission, how we move to the next phase of this ceremony. I would like to announce that all senators elect and all members elect of the House of Representatives should please kindly take time for a short brief on this ceremony conclusion. The President, sir, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is now my honor and privilege to invite Senator B.C. Abunani behalf of the party, the National Republican Convention, Mr. Abunani Sir.
To the incisive and thought-provoking address given to us this morning by the President. The address is very serious, and it has to be studied carefully before one can make any comments. I want to thank the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the Federal Military Government, the state governors, the NEC, the law enforcement agencies, for the role they have played in seeing that the transition program is on course. We appreciate that in any human endeavor, there have to be mistakes. Some changes have been made in the present transition program. In spite of those changes, which are understandable, the program is still on course. The Federal Military Government should be thanked for this. We are now looking forward to the presidential primaries and the elections that will come shortly. The transition program has been a learning process, and we have learned very, very well. Because this time around, Nigeria has witnessed elections without rancor, elections without tolerance, elections without violence. So, the credit must also go to NEC for working very hard to ensure that this thing happens. We will also thank the leadership of the two political parties for their understanding. Those of them that have won at various stages of the elections that have taken place since the introduction of the transition to civil rule have won with magnanimity. And those of them that have lost with good faith. I think this is a new idea and a new development in the politics of Nigeria. We request the military administration to have patience with us. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you and God bless.
Thank you very much. Your Excellencies, members of the National Executive of the two political parties, member-elect of the National Assembly, ladies and gentlemen. We, the majority party, the SDP, would like to take this opportunity to thank Mr. President and the members of the AFRC for the implementation of the transition program so far. I would like, on behalf of my colleagues, to thank the President for his foresight and steadfastness in making various phases of the transitional program a success. Many had doubted that the program would get this far, that it has is due to the determination and perseverance of this administration to make the program a success at the end of the day. Mr. President, sir, allow me to congratulate you and your colleague for a job well done so far. May I also echo your salutation to us and congratulate ourselves for our success in being all here as senators and members of the House of Representatives. It is prosaic or common to say that a particular event is historic. In reality, what is historic is by its definition what Westphal, our historian, described after the event of taking place. Even so, we can claim that all of us here seated are taking part in an occasion we can truly describe as historic, no matter what future historic we describe. The atmosphere,
the flooding, the execution, all at late, all led to a belief that that what we are doing here today is crucial to the development of a new Nigeria, political, culture, and therefore in the making of our political history. Mr. President, sir, many of us had looked forward to and hope that today will be the day to inaugurate the National Assembly. But that is not today. It is sad. The reason for this, as adduced in the address, we will carefully reflect and form an opinion after mature reflection. We accept that these decisions were made in good faith. No doubt, these decisions taken after lengthy deliberations reflect patriotism and dedication. We, at least, on the majority side of the House, see the decision with the same patriotic zeal and commitment which must have been the basis of Mr. President and AFRC's decision. Mr. President, sir, even so, we came here prepared to work, prepared to enter into a noble experiment of putting together a legislative machinery which, handled with maturity, might have been able to further the practice of democracy. We were prepared to live with any type of arrangement the President and his colleagues had devised pursuant to Decree No. 18 of 1993. We are, however, ready to join you in the final lap of this transitional program. Both sides, the executive and the National Assembly, have much to learn and much to contribute to the development of democracy. There is much to plan and much to be executed. Our people watch with bated breath how we begin to train the tender fruit of democracy. The world is equally anxious to see how we achieve our democratic goals. Mr. President, sir, I want to assure you that among us, you will find compatriots of no less patriotic zeal and love. We intend to serve the nation in this spirit, to say and to do which is best for our nation. We assure you that we will dedicate ourselves to the tasks that set before us, as well as those tasks which our constituents have also set before us, all to the greater glory of any Nigeria. Mr. President, allow me once again to thank you and assure you that we intend to discharge our duty credibly in the best interest of our country. Thank you very much.
Isn't that thunder?
Very good, especially the matter of the president and the temper of the police. Thank you for
That is sort of near. What is that?
I would like to see you.
I'm traveling now. yellow. Okay. Let's go and finish with this thing.
Education is there.
Be whatever may, we enjoyed the speech of Mr. President. We believe that Mr. President and AFRC arrived at the decision after very thoughtful deliberation, and think it's in the best interest of the country. So we are taking it in good faith and placing the challenges before us, the challenges that the people of our constituency place on us to effectively represent them. That activity is now suspended until January. However, we have a lot to learn from one another, the executive and the National Assembly. We have a lot to contribute to the economic process of this country. It's a new beginning, a new Nigeria. Altogether, we must be careful how we do the various phases of the transition program in order to ensure that the Fourth Republic is well entrenched in our political culture.
Now, don't you think there will be a clash between FRC and members if what you are saying is
there would have been we have to manage the entire country as a team, a member of one family. We're not competing with FRC. We regard them as a lawmaking body. Sincerely, there wouldn't have been any conflict, but it's okay. I mean, we are talking at a situation and a decision arrived at after careful deliberation. Patriotism, a commitment to serve the country is no doubt the same as that of commitment of the AFRC. The objective of the AFRC is to live a sound democratic system. The objective of the new political, the new legislators is to have a sound democratic, environment which to work with. I don't see any problem. Today is one in the calendar of that historic, process that will definitely set Nigeria in the right direction. They are doing a fantastic job, the AFRC and Mr. President. We have no doubt about that. But once elected, it is very important that we will be eager to serve. You know, it's a common knowledge that we are prepared to be inaugurated. We are put on holidays. We have a lot of research that we will be doing to be able to contribute effectively to the new era come January 1990. Now, if we need to marry, Hilton, and you will find me at Sheraton 644 Mami Wanbe.
1 to be held by the Army headquarters in the new federal capital Abuja, since the seat of government.
The parade commander now takes permission for him to commence the parade.
Closely followed by second in command as Captain B. Charles Yusuf and his adjutant. Closely follows the patrol guard is the color party. Other side of the color, while you have the parade direction as WO standing behind the color. Second to the last is number 3 guard. Number 3 guard is being commanded by Captain G. Lawal. While we have number 1 sub-commander of that guard as Lieutenant E.A. Jamenge. And number 2 sub-commander as Lieutenant A.A. Legeri. the company Major as WO2 approved. And the last guard is number 4 guard, which is being commanded by Captain M.S. Abdallah. We have number 1 sub-command, guard commander as Lieutenant G.A. Milo. Number 2 sub-guard commander as Lieutenant O.A. Onoba. While we have behind the Commander Major WO2 Andrew Adori. Excellency, the Governor of Lagos State, senior armed forces officers, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen.
Your Royal Highness, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I'm now going to read the message of the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Salih Ibrahim, FSS, FH, WC, to the officers and soldiers of the Nigerian Army on the occasion of the Nigerian Army Day celebration 1992. It is again my pleasure to address you all today on the occasion of the Nigerian Army Day celebration 1992. As you all know, this date is set aside each year for us to reappraise the role of the Nigerian Army in the development of our country and its continued preservation as a nation. Perhaps I should also remind you all that the choice of day for the celebration is not by accident but deliberate. For those of you that are old enough, and of course those amongst you that interest themselves with the historical development of our great country, I need not recall that it was on the 6th of July 1967 that the first shot that signaled the start of the Nigerian Civil War was fired. Consequently, the 6th of July of every year is set aside to, among other things, afford us the opportunity to remember our departed colleagues who laid down their lives for the continued strength of our country as one indivisible nation. As we mark this year's celebration, let me repeat myself in my address to you at a similar occasion last year. It was in the portion of the address that had to do with the tribute I paid to our fallen colleagues. In that address, I asserted that I will be speaking for us if I said that the sacrifices that our fallen colleagues made had given us a strong cause to strengthen our resolve for the continuity and well-being of our country. Today, I wish to again emphasize the relevance of that statement. This is so particularly when I recall the recent unfortunate incident of riots in some parts of the country. As soldiers, we must always display clearly our unalloyed loyalty to the President, Commander-in-Chief, and the federal government. In the same address, you will recall that I stated that a strong resolve and commitment is necessary on our part if the sacrifices made by our fallen colleagues were not to be in vain. Today, I wish to commend those of you that were called out to quell the riots in Kaduna State on the very professional manner they handled the situation and on unalloyed loyalty they displayed during the operation. As I commend you on your role during the riot and in other national emergencies, I wish to assure you that Nigeria will continue to show appreciation of the noble roles members of Nigerian Army have continued to play in safeguarding the unity and integrity of this nation as one entity under God. Recalling the concept of Nigerian Army Day celebration, I wish to remind you that the tradition is for the occasion to be celebrated on a major scale every 4 years. The last of such major celebration was held in 1988. It is thought against this background that this year's celebration is being observed with all pomp and pedigree, of course, taking full cognizance of our low financial stance. It is also important to note that the Nigerian Army Day celebration 1992 is a unique and historic occasion because of certain factors. For example, it is the first Army Day celebration to be held in the new federal capital, Abuja, since the seat of government moved from Lagos. Furthermore, it is the last to be held under this military administration. That is before it hands over power to a democratically elected government in January 1993. My message to you on the occasion of this Nigerian celebration will largely focus on professionalism and discipline in the Nigerian Army, loyalty, and of course security. I will not fail to touch on the federal military government transition program, which is on its last lap. It is important because it not only signals the military disengagement from politics of this nation, but marks the beginning of our march back to the barracks. As I told you during my address last year, the implementation of the new force structure alone cannot meet our requirement on the return to professionalism. This was why I emphasized on the need to intensify on both individual and collective training as only means to attain a higher level of professionalism. I'm happy to know that from my observations during my recent tour of formation and unit that there were marked improvement in collective training. However, we appreciate that it would take some time to attain the desired level of professionalism. I need to quickly add that this can only be achieved when individual officers and soldiers realize the need for individual training and professionalism upliftment on their own. With our return to the barracks by the end of this year, the individual soldier has nothing else to prove himself on other than his performance in this noble profession. The Army recognizes and will continue to reward excellence, and as such, appointments and movements up the hierarchy ladder will more than ever before be based on individual capability and performance. This is one of the ways to bridge the existing gap between the attained and the desired level of training and professionalism. On our part, at the Army headquarters, we will continue to accord training its due priority as we believe that it is the only means to attain professionalism. It is also in line with my belief that the more you sweat in peacetime, the less you bleed in battle. It is hoped that by the time we finally return to the barracks in January 1993, the noble objective of professionalism will be attained, as we will have nothing to distract us outside our scheduled training and regimentation. Meanwhile, I will continue to commit adequate resources that will ensure effective training of both officers and soldiers. Commanders on their part are once more reminded to ensure that training in their command continue to receive priority attention. In line with my commitment to training, attention will be focused more on adequate equipping our military training institutions. Henceforth, overseas courses will be based only on those that are essential and on exchange basis. Over the years, we have observed that our training institutions can perform equally well, if not better, when adequately equipped and necessary incentives provided. Our attention will now be focused along this line of thinking. On the issue of new force structure, I'm happy to inform you all that the 3 batches so far affected have been paid their benefits. Few cases that are yet to be paid are due to some administrative lapses which have been looked into. The aim was to make the necessary retirement without fears, which has been reasonably achieved. The normal discharges as contained in our rules of engagement are now to be adhered to rather than the new force structure discharge. Soldiers will now go to rehabilitation centers for training before they are finally discharged from the service. The disbandment and merger of the units and movement of others to new locations and the redefinition of new ones has finally been completed. The new force structure is presently undergoing the required test to see how best to fine-tune it to meet our needs. Necessary adjustments have been made, and it is my hope that it will work fine and be in place after the military disengagement from politics. By that time, we will be back finally in the barracks. Last year, I mentioned the low level of discipline and SPG corps in the Nigerian Army. Although I have observed some marked improvement, I cannot still say that we have obtained a fast mark in this direction. Perhaps, I should remind you that discipline is the backbone of any organization, and the Nigerian Army is noted for its high level of discipline, which distinguishes it from any other organization. This is why it is discerning to hear cases of soldiers engaging on illegal duties, aiding and abetting smuggling, alleged armed robbery and sales of firearms, fraud, duping, anonymous letter, rumor mongering, and harassment of innocent citizens, among others. It is hoped that with the return to the barracks and the commencement of full regimentation, acts of indiscipline in Nigeria will be a thing of the past. I encourage all of you to resolve to make a U-turn and change for the better. The Nigerian Army has no room for indiscipline, an indolent individual or group of persons. Anybody caught in acts of indiscipline will be dealt with accordingly. The loyalty is an issue that cannot be compromised in any organization. This is more so in a military institution, such as the Nigerian Army. As the saying goes, there is no half or measured loyalty. It has to be total and absolute. This has to be clearly displayed in all our actions, not only in relation to the military environment, but to the nation as a whole. We have to remain loyal and dedicated to the service as the President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces. This becomes more crucial as we discharge from the active politicking. We have to accept the constitutional provisions of our callings and subordinate ourselves to the democratically elected government and the President, Commander-in-Chief of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. This is why the Nigerian Army has put into place structures, institutions, and processes that will make this possible. This will also make military intervention in our national political process most irrelevant. The issue of national security should be of concern to every meaning citizen. This is even more so to military personnel. Though one is happy to know that so far we have not recorded lapses in this important issue, this is not to say that we should relax or jubilate for our successes on this. Because our military personnel, we are aware that security is a continuous matter that must be pursued at all times. Bearing in mind that the army is the only arm of the military that is spread nationwide, it is incumbent on us that we continue to demonstrate security awareness anywhere we are and whatever we engage in. It is a requirement on each and every one of us to continue to be alert with happenings around us. Our security consciousness and alertness will make us identify any unusual movement or activity that may not be in the interest of the army or our nation, especially at this crucial period of the transition program. This, when identified, must immediately be reported to the appropriate authority. On the transition to civil rule program, I wish to commend your role and behavior during the past election, as none of you was found to have tampered with the electoral process. I encourage you to behave likewise in subsequent elections. I encourage you that you are not to allow politicians into the barracks, neither are you to attend political rallies. You are either allowed to exercise your civic rights by voting for any candidate of your choice. Make your choice by reading and listening to various news media. I want more enjoy you not to listen to loose talk from distractors who will come to you comparing the performance of military government and that of the civilians. Such people who are also known to distribute inciting pamphlets do not mean well for this country. You are warned not to listen to nor condone them, and likewise their inciting publications. It is time we do away with mere preaching on the maintenance of our arms and equipment. The era of use and throw away is gone for good, as this country is neither a producer of most of the equipment we use, nor do we have adequate funds to purchase new ones. My recent tour afforded me the opportunity to assess how far we have embraced the maintenance culture. I have to say that I'm not too impressed. However, I'm glad to know that the annual administrative inspection and special inspection of mechanical, transport, and technical equipment will be carried out by the formation soon, and their report will form the basis on which future assessment of the formation will be based. In pursuit of the federal military government policy on return of the military to the barracks, the impact of the Implementation Committee on Army Projects, ICAP, is already being felt in many cantonments and barracks all over the country. Already, all the division headquarters have been completed, and the division headquarters are moved to their permanent locations. Accommodation, roads, water, and electricity are some of the projects being put in place in most cantonments. It is hoped that ICAP will go around the barracks before the end of the year. You are to maintain the facilities properly, as any damage will attract severe disciplinary action. Furthermore, in order to ease our transportation problem, the President, Commander-in-Chief, in his magnificent manner, has kindly granted soft vehicle loans to different categories of military personnel and the police. The loan is a revolving one and will go around every service personnel in subsequent years. In addition, all army welfare schemes are being reviewed and new ones added to include the benefits accruing from them. Details will be communicated to you soon and will become operational before the year runs out. Make sure only you and members of your immediate family enjoy the scheme to be so provided. Any abuse will lead to the loss of such privilege and appropriate disciplinary action taken against offenders. As promised last year, the promotion of soldiers is now an annual event, like that of the officers, while qualified ones are commissioned into various fields. This is in accordance with the need to boost the morale and compensate hard work on the part of the affected soldiers. The difficulties being faced in respect of health care delivery is being looked into also. To enhance the services of medical corps for purchase of drug and other medicaments is being embarked upon. Officers and soldiers on their part are expected to complement our efforts by ensuring that drugs dispensed to them are judicially and honestly administered and not abused. I will use this medium to commend all those who participated in the Liberia and Sierra Leone peacekeeping operations for their performance. You all did Nigeria proud by your conduct. We